Welcome, deep divers. We're diving into a story today that really challenges everything you might think about success, loyalty, and how a career can just explode from the most improbable beginnings. Picture this, an alleged armed robbery that somehow, incredibly, leads directly to a record deal. It's this paradox, right? And it set the stage for both massive chart success and, well, ultimately, profound tragedy. So our mission today is to try and unravel these intricate, often blurred lines between ambition, that fierce loyalty, and the whole complex tapestry of legacy. We're focusing on two hugely influential figures in Southern hip-hop, Master P and Soulja Slim. We'll unpack the key moments, those surprising decisions, and yeah, the ethical questions that define their really volatile relationship. These questions still shape their place in music history. So okay, let's unpack this.
Yeah, and what immediately jumps out to me here is that this isn't just like a story about two artists. It's really a powerful lens into the intense pressures, the deep ethical dilemmas, and the very real-world consequences that often play out in the music industry, that whole high-stakes environment. And this is especially true in the unique, often kind of raw, narrative-driven world of Southern hip-hop. It's a scene with its own distinct sound, its own focus, and particularly within Master P's empire, No Limit Records, which was just ascending so fast back then. These kinds of dramatic stories seem to find their footing there.
Oh, absolutely. And when you talk about dramatic footing, I mean, this story starts with an origin that's so extraordinary, it almost sounds made up. So our first big stop is that beginning, right? An alleged robbery that literally launched a career. Sources tell us Soulja Slim, James Adairell Tapp Jr. was his birth name, allegedly robbed one of No Limit's own producers at gunpoint.
At gunpoint, yeah.
It's just a shocking scene to even picture. The guy who would become a No Limit star, starting things off with a violent act against the label itself.
It's pretty wild.
But then, Master P's reaction. That's what's truly unprecedented, just jaw-dropping. What he did next.
Yeah.
Instead of, pressing charges, calling the cops, Master P signed Slim to No Limit Records.
Giant him.
Yeah. And apparently even praised him, calling him our Tupac. I mean, it's a decision that even now, decades later, makes you just stop and think. Was it pure genius?
Yeah.
Was it his own street-honed survival instinct kicking in? Or, I don't know, something else entirely?
Well, you see, this wasn't just about spotting raw talent, though that was part of it, sure. It was really a calculated move, almost audacious, you could say, and it completely redefined street credibility for No Limit. Master P, he was a true visionary in the business side of things. He had this uncanny ability, to recognize that raw talent, that unvarnished potential, even when it popped up out of direct hostility,
Right.
like this robbery. He understood that in the whole burgeoning gangsta rap scene, embracing someone like Slim, even from that kind of confrontational start, it wasn't just a risk. It was a strategic validation. It resonated deeply with the exact audience they were trying to reach, trying to conquer.
Makes sense.
It really added to No Limit's whole cinematic narrative, risk, redemption, that gritty street legitimacy. It just reinforced his image as this mogul who truly commanded the streets. He represented it in his music.
Yeah, that whole No Limit image was so strong.
Exactly. And his business model, you got to remember, was revolutionary for the time. That tank logo was everywhere. Plus that vertical integration approach controlling everything, production, distribution. It let them just flood the market with that No Limit sound, an assembly line almost.
And that audacious gamble, signing Slim.
Yeah.
It seemed to pay off, didn't it?
Yeah.
At least initially. Despite those ominous beginnings, Soulja Slim found immediate, undeniable success under No Limit. We're talking his debut album, Give It To M Raw, dropped May 98. And what's truly remarkable is that album landed at number 13 on the Billboard 200. Incredible spot.
Yeah, that's huge for a debut.
But what makes it even more astonishing, he did that while he was incarcerated, locked up.
Right. That's the kicker.
It wasn't just a hit record. It was like a major statement.
Oh, absolutely. That success was profoundly significant. For Slim, obviously, but also for Master P and for the whole No Limit story. For Slim, it basically established him as this formidable, authentic voice in Southern hip-hop. It proved his talent could break through even, physical confinement.
Yeah.
His style, that raw, unapologetic lyrical approach, it just resonated deeply. It was a stark contrast to some of the more polished sounds coming out elsewhere.
Definitely stood out.
And for Master P, it just powerfully reinforced his belief in Slim's value, his influence. It totally solidified that initial very unconventional gamble. It validated P's vision, showcased No Limit's unique power to push artists into the mainstream, even under the absolute most challenging circumstances. It really built on their rep for signing compelling street artists.
Yet, as often happens, right, in music, in business. That rapid rise brought its own challenges. Ambitions evolve. And that prompted Soulja Slim to make a pretty significant move. After his initial run with No Limit, he decided to part ways with the label. He launched his own venture, Cutthroat Committee, which was a clear signal, wasn't it? He wanted greater creative independence, more direct control over his art. And this departure, naturally, it fueled a lot of speculation. Fans, industry people, everyone was talking.
Was it like a strategic retreat, maybe part of a planned growth?
Formation of that New Orleans underground ethos. This dynamic leaving a bigger label, it's incredibly common in music, sure, but especially for artists who come from environments as raw, as authentic as the New Orleans rap scene was and still is.
Right, that local connection is huge there. Exactly. For a lot of artists from the South, creative freedom wasn't just about, like, better royalties. It was about keeping that unvarnished connection to their roots. It felt like a direct challenge almost to the commercial sheen, the broad appeal that No Limit had by then undeniably achieved.
Yeah, No Limit was massive by then.
Totally. So artists often leave these highly commercialized labels searching for that perceived authenticity or just greater artistic control. They want to connect directly with their core audience, keep that street cred intact. It's that constant push and pull, between the artist's vision and the realities, the demands of the music business.
And as those dynamics were kind of simmering, a new element entered the story, though it's a bit shadowy. We're talking about this persistent rumor of a direct challenge from Slim, an alleged diss track aimed right at Master P.
Ah, yes, the alleged tracks.
Supposedly called You Bootin' Up, and rumored to feature Juvenile. Now, it's really crucial we state this up front, this track, along with some alleged response from Silk the Shocker. It remains entirely unverified.
A very important distinction.
Yeah. We have no confirmed audio, no lyrics we can point to, no official word from any reputable sources. It's more like a whisper, a piece of hip-hop lore that just hangs around.
Indeed. That lack of concrete evidence is key. But the mere fact that such a persistent rumor exists in hip-hop lore, that speaks volumes about the perceived tensions at the time. Even though there's no proof of You Bootin' Up, the diss track itself is such a classic vehicle in hip-hop for airing grievances.
Oh yeah, standard practice.
So it points to the huge impact of perceived betrayals or frustrations in that artist-label relationship. If such a track were real, it would suggest Slim felt he had to use that traditional platform to voice whatever lingering resentments he might have had about the label, about Master P personally after leaving.
Right, his side of the story.
Exactly. And these unverified elements, even without proof, they just add more layers to the whole compelling mythos around these guys. It shows how powerful rumors can become in shaping a narrative, even without a tangible recording.
But before any of these complex layers could really fully unravel, or maybe even be confirmed, the story just took this irreversible, tragic turn. November 26, 2003. Soulja Slim was found murdered in New Orleans.
Just awful.
A shocking, unsolved killing. It didn't just silence this, burgeoning voice in music. It immediately ignited this huge flurry of speculation, accusations across the whole Southern hip-hop community.
Yeah, it created a vacuum.
Totally. It left this void in music, but also this intense vacuum that speculation just rushed in to fill. It really highlights the raw vulnerability of artists navigating those kinds of high-stakes environments. This tragic event, you can imagine, just sent shockwaves through hip-hop circles, and almost immediately it triggered that wave of rumors we mentioned. Most notably, his sister, G.I. Peaches. She reportedly made these unsubstantiated allegations, accusing elements close to Master P of orchestrating it.
Heavy accusations.
Very. But it's equally important to highlight the counterstatement. Terrence "Gangsta" Williams, who was identified as a source close to the situation, he publicly denied Master P had any involvement or even knew it was going to happen.
Right. So you have these strong, directly conflicting narratives hitting the public sphere almost immediately.
Exactly.
And this clash, this tension between rumor and, well, verifiable truth, it really reflects that intensifying mythos that can just envelop public figures, especially in volatile cultural landscapes like the one around New Orleans hip-hop at the time.
Yeah, things were intense.
It highlights how quickly speculation can take root, how it can evolve into these seemingly credible narratives, even with zero concrete evidence, particularly when official answers aren't forthcoming, like an unsolved murder case. It really compels us, I think, to critically evaluate the stories built around public figures, especially in these intense situations with such emotionally charged allegations flying around. It forces us to ask, How do we, as listeners, as consumers of this information, how do we interpret and weigh things when we're presented with such starkly conflicting accounts?
That's a really powerful question. And it kind of brings us back full circle, doesn't it? Back to Master P's foundational approach. His entrepreneurial bravado that was so central to his success, he transformed No Limit into an absolute powerhouse. He used those guerrilla marketing tactics, street teams selling CDs from car trunks, that instantly recognizable album art that became like a cultural shorthand for their brand.
Iconic, yeah.
He built this almost cinematic narrative, risk, redemption, street legitimacy. So with all this in mind, what does this all mean for Master P's legacy? How do we reconcile this undeniable business genius? I mean, the architect of an empire with the profound ethical questions that are just inevitably raised by some of his more unconventional and frankly really risky choices.
This is where we really hit that core ethical dilemma, isn't it? How far can ambition stretch the bounds of conventional morality before it starts to verge into, well, complicity?
Right.
Master P's genius was undeniably in seeing the market value of Slim's raw authenticity. Even when that authenticity emerged from a violent act, he appeared to value talent, maybe above all else, even if it meant embracing someone who had literally just tried to do harm to his operation.
Yeah.
But it forces us to ask, in building an empire, does the end goal, massive success, ever justify the means? Especially when those means blur the lines of loyalty, personal responsibility, not just for the artist maybe, but for the architect of that success too.
That's deep.
And if we connect this to the broader debate in hip-hop, and frankly in any high-stakes business, it really challenges us to consider, how far should loyalty extend, especially that kind of street loyalty, before self-interest or maybe just the sheer cost of achieving monumental success takes over? It's a theme that resonates way beyond just the music industry, you know? It touches on the very nature of leadership, accountability.
Absolutely. The journey of Master P and Soulja Slim. It's just such a compelling, deeply complex case study. It started with an attempted robbery, led to chart-topping success, and then ultimately ended with tragic, unresolved questions in these enduring ethical debates. It's a potent collision, isn't it?
Yeah.
Business acumen, artistic ambition, moral limits. It's a story that really makes you think about the paths people choose, the decisions they make along the way, and the marks those decisions leave on their legacies. Indelible marks.
Yeah, and if we connect this to the bigger picture, like you said, the story of Master P and Soulja Slim really forces us to consider the immense burden of legacy. In any high-stakes environment, music, business, politics, whatever, what responsibilities do leaders, mentors, what do they bear for the lives, the choices of the people they uplift and empower, especially when those relationships begin on such precarious, such unconventional terms? It compels us to think about the long-term echoes of every single decision, you know? And it truly makes you wonder about the price of ambition and maybe the true cost of success.